See me and know me, for I am all things. Behold that which you could not see before, and now know. All is divine. And when we do not see this, we fall into the veil of forgetting, and we are lost for a time. But the divine has created infinite doorways of returning. There is no road too long or too arduous for what we seek. For this great matrix of deception, this great veil of forgetting, is grand divine theater for thee. And in this grand divine theater, we are offered infinite doorways to truth. Every decision we make creates a dance, every action a reaction. Every ripple returns to us to reflect and grow and integrate. It can be hard to fathom at times, this truth, for all the atrocity and ruin and poverty and greed of this world. It can stain us in a way. How could the divine allow these things to happen? How is all of this permitted? And in the face of these things we do not understand, there are two distortions that create a false polarity that one must integrate and overcome. First, there is the albedo, the deep black godlessness, the idea that there is no divine, or that the divine has abandoned us. This path is one that haunts many today. The world that they perceive through their senses is nothing but an endless march of evidence that there is no God, that the divine source, the goddess, the cosmos, the infinite, whatever you wish to call it, has abandoned us. And it is easy to see why. From our finite perspective as a soul, witnessing the suffering of others is an unbearable task. There are people who are enduring unspeakably horrible things even now, in this very moment. Violations of their sovereignty and bodies, pain and fear and horrors that I cannot even describe to thee. It is easy to be angry. When one confronts this, the conclusion feels dreadfully obvious. The divine is gone, or does not care. And there are no magical words I can say to thee to show you that this is not so. Rather, I challenge you to begin to try and seek the divine. This is the beginning. Let the fire of your rage, the grief at the injustice, the raw power of your emotions stoke the forge and allow the blackening to proceed. However, there are many who have done this. Their passion and their seeking has brought them to the next stage, and they are almost more blind than those that believe the divine is not real. They have come to see and know a false god, the albedo. They worship false lights, prosperity gospel, delete that. These religions, these false lights, preach half-truths. They separate people into the worthy and the sinful. They preach things like manifestation and original sin and prosperity gospel, the idea that God uplifts only the good, and that if you do the right things and say the right things and are performatively positive all of the time, then you will be saved from this horrible place and walk side by side with some perfect being elsewhere. This false belief has taken many forms in the modern day, and there is not a single religion, ideology, or spiritual practice, ancient, new, or developing, that is not infested with this false light too. Toxic positivity, manifestation for personal gain and material wealth, othering, and many other tasks of the false light. To overcome this, one must become discerning. They have to not give in to the temptation to think that the darkness, the albedo, is the salvation from the negredo. The clarification of this false light and its lies, its honey that coats a razor blade, must be overcome. It is only when one sees all of it, the entire duality of the supposed infinite battles of the good versus evil, as but a drama. The divine is all things, multidimensional, and beyond your comprehension. If a being is suffering in this lifetime, it is not because they deserve it. It is not because they are sinful. They did not choose it to have wonderful experiences. If you see injustice, if you see victimization, violation, and crime, stop it, if you can, but only insofar as you do not put yourself at great risk. For we are on incomprehensibly long, multi-lifetime journeys of refinement. You might be catching someone at a rather difficult stage in their growth. Paradoxically, though, we could already live in the Garden of Eden if we collectively could choose to. These brutal lessons are not ultimately necessary. You may have compassion for that, but free souls must live through that which they think they deserve. Words fail us here, so I will rather offer you an image. No matter how far away, how deeply down in the dark, and how lost the soul gets, all roads, every single path leads back to truth. Whether they find that truth in this lifetime or 1,000,000 lifetimes from now is irrelevant. The infinite truth overcomes everything in time. To overcome and integrate these lessons, one must understand that they are a divine witness and will wear many masks in this life. You are not a healer because no one needs healing. You are not a warrior because there are no wars to fight. But you're also not meant to live an empty life. You are meant to live a life of deep soul purpose, which will put you at odds with this illusory world. I challenge you to see the divine in all things, even when you can't intellectually understand it. The ego sees problems to be solved. The divine sees divinity. Now, do not confuse seeing divinity with permission. If I came across a person being violated and I had the power to stop it, I would. And I would hold those who violate them to account. But not for a moment would I forget that each one of them, both the violator and the violated, are God, are the divine. I would try to reflect that to them, becoming nearer light so that they might see their own divinity. And if they take my hand and walk through the veil into that truth, that is a good thing. But if they do not, I must simply move on. Play your roles in this life. Be in this world but not of it. This paradox is hard. You will have to grapple with your own shadows until you realize that they are also you. For only when the albedo and the negredo are fused together with the light of true divinity are we reborn into what we were meant to be. And make no mistake, this process of refinement, of dark and light coming together into something beyond words, is infinite. There are no souls that are done with their spiritual evolution, because you are the bleeding edge of the divine, discovering, learning, and dare I say, playing. because it is the most beautiful thing we have ever done. And when one begins to accept this and honestly confronts all of their objections, all of the repressed rage and grief, all of the sorrow, all of the joy and ecstasy, and sees all of it as but keys on a piano, a rainbow of cosmic colors to express themselves with, they will begin to understand the nature of divinity in a way that words cannot transmit. It is a state of being, to transcend duality, but not deny it. To live in this world, but to not let it swallow you. You are not here to escape the matrix. You are here to dissolve it, just as the sun dissolves the morning fog. Note, though, that dissolving is passive. You cannot force anyone awake, and you cannot destroy that which is not real. The greatest paradox for those hearing my voice is the answer to the question, how do I help people see the divine within themselves while not participating in that delusion? And that is to say, if you try to heal someone or convince them that God is real in earnest, you are participating in the myth or the lie they tell themselves that the divine is not. If one sees the divine in another, you cannot try to convince them it is there, for your actions betray you. If you act as though the divine is not there and try to reveal it to them, you have fallen back asleep. I see this a lot in New Age spiritual movements, in puritanical religions, but also in the nihilists and the lost. They are still desperately seeking something that is already there inside of them. And if you get too wrapped up in their delusions, even with the earnest intention to help them, you give them your energy. They become like leeches upon your skin, sucking the truth from your marrow. You're not wrong for trying, but there are ways to be compassionate and witness people in their struggles and gently and earnestly nudge them towards the truth without giving their delusions energy. You must ultimately maintain the consciousness that all beings are divine, and any being that insists it is not does not need to be convinced otherwise. You might say, well, how do I help them? And the path to enlightenment is you trying and failing 1,000,000 times to answer that question. So I suggest you get started. And do try to have fun. If you're not doing that, you're really missing the point. But then again, maybe there isn't one. If you're frustrated by paradox, welcome to the game. The divine will never make sense in a way that can be dissected with word. It is a state of being to know, to see and be all things, and yet also not be. Good luck, and may the truth be with you. And if it is not, may it find you when you are ready.